Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Cole Kakamis and welcome back to the channel. So for about 3 weeks now, I've been using the M1 iPad Pro alongside the White Magic keyboard, and I wanted to make a quick video talking about my experience with it and how it's holding up. Now, I just want to quickly note that other than the color, this keyboard is actually identical to last year's model. But on the 12.9-inch version of this keyboard, it is a little bit different than last year's only because the actual iPad Pro, the 12.9-inch model, got a bit thicker, just the 50 XDR display. So if you buy one of these but using like a 2020 or a 2018 iPad Pro, it won't fit quite as snug. So with that said, I'm absolutely in love with the design. The white finish is super clean and matches really well with the silver casing of the iPad, at least my model. For some reason, I just love the look of the back. The subtle Apple logo and the camera bump just looks great. It props up the iPad very well, so it's really convenient to have on the side when I'm typing up YouTube scripts. I'll have the notes on the iPad itself, and then, the big monitor is where I'll actually write it. Now, something that I'm still really proud of is that I now use the iPad for notes, if you want to see. Yes, I'm cheating. I don't memorize all this, sorry. But I used to have my phone, and now I modded like an old newer layout. It's newer than the layout I currently use, but like I haven't really found a good use for them. And so I modded it, kind of turned it upside down. The iPad is just sitting on top. It's under the camera. Really nice just to be able to read the notes, look back up at the camera, act like I know what I'm doing. So setting it up is really simple. You just open it up until the hinge locks, and in the upper half, just push that all the way back. Then the iPad locks in place with the magnets on the case, and that's it. The keyboard and trackpad are now connected, no wires, no nothing. Do note that it will drain the battery a little faster, so if you have a heavy workload, make sure to have a charger on hand. It adds this awesome floating design that looks so good. You can smoothly adjust the display to get the most optimal viewing angle. It's really convenient for when I just want to use it as an iPad. I can quickly pop it off and then put it back on whenever I need to type something. It's made of the silicone material that's very soft, and it feels a lot like some of Apple's other cases. When you're not using it, it folds up, giving you protection on both sides. Now, my one gripe with its durability is that it leaves the sides completely exposed, so I'm not exactly sure how drop resistant it is. There are very few cases that you can use on top of this keyboard case to give you more protection, and so I've had my eyes out for something like a dbrand skin or maybe some bumpers. I think the worst part about this case that honestly makes me less willing to use this iPad as a laptop replacement is how it is in my lap. Because all the weight is in the iPad, it's a little top heavy, and so at times I can feel it almost falling forward. The case itself is actually heavier than the iPad, which is kind of Apple's attempt at combating this, but it really isn't perfect. Onto the keyboard itself, at first it kind of felt a little cramped, like my fingers were too close together, but after only about a day of use, I really got used to it and it just became natural. But at times I do find myself missing keys more often than I would on a traditional normal keyboard. It's using scissor switches, so you get a nice amount of travel that's similar. It might even be the exact same as the new MacBooks, and I really enjoy typing on it. They aren't the most clicky sounding, but I think that a lot of people who use this iPad aren't really interested in having something like a mechanical keyboard, and this is just really good if you're in something like a school setting. It's fully backlit, but so far I've actually had some problems with trying to adjust it manually. It really only turns on like when it's completely dark in the room, which I guess it saves battery, but like I still want to just be able to turn it on. My daily board is a mechanical one from Keychron and has gate-around switches, so it's definitely a change of pace from the iPad one, but honestly, I haven't had too many problems switching between, and really the Magic Keyboard is starting to grow on me. Now, I get that there's not a lot of room here, but not having media keys is really just annoying. If I want to pause a song or skip one I don't like I have to actually go into music or pull down Control Center, and it's just a lot of extra steps that I don't want to have to go through. You also can't even try to change the backlight. You have to go into settings. It's like general keyboard, hardware keyword. It's like 3-4 different pages to get there. And then for me, it doesn't work. It's annoying, man. And on top of that, there's no escape key. So if you're watching like a full screen video, you have to tap on the screen. So it kind of kills like the whole computer aspect of it all. It's not cool. So opening up the case is definitely a pain because you don't have the nice little gap that's on the MacBooks. And so I have to just awkwardly figure out where I should grab it from. Also, it's made even worse if you have an Apple Pencil sitting there. It's like completely in the way. On this side of the hinge, there's a USB-C pass-through forward charging, which is super convenient and also just completes the whole, wireless floating look. Now, there are quite a few keyboard shortcuts that you can use to navigate iPadOS and perform certain functions. So if you just hold down the command key, you'll get a nice pop-up window showing all of them for the respective app that you're using. Speaking of ways to navigate iPadOS, this thing actually features a full trackpad. It's honestly really grown on me these past couple weeks, and I enjoy using it. Gesture controls are smooth, and selecting apps with the cursor is really visually pleasing because of the little hover animation. The first thing I noticed when I used it though was that it's really loud. It is a physical trackpad, so I guess I'm just super spoiled by my Force Touch MacBook one that's like super silent but feels really nice. It is quite small, nowhere near the size of one on a MacBook, and so at times when trying to copy or highlight long blocks of text, it's really difficult because your finger gets to the end already, and so you have to do this awkward two-hand thing. It's a mess. Also, there's a few instances where you'd think you'd be able to scroll or navigate with a trackpad, and it just doesn't work. So I'm sure what you're all interested in is, how's it holding up? Is it staying clean, being all pure white? And what I can say is that I'm honestly pretty shocked at how good it looks. Other than the back hinge, there is a little scuff there. After 3 weeks of use, it stayed pretty much perfect. I have been babying this a little bit. It hasn't really left my desk area. So if you're going to be using this, as your main device, taking it to school, coffee shops, wherever you go, it's bound to get dirtier. As far as cleaning, I've dusted it off around the edges and in between the keys, but I haven't used any actual cleaning products because I don't want to leave any stains or anything. With all that said, this keyboard case comes in at $300 or $350 if you're buying the 12.9-inch version. So you gotta love this iPad, this whole entire setup to justify it. And what you have to consider is that even with just the baseline iPad Pro and this Magic Keyboard, you're already up to $1,100, which is more than a MacBook Air that has the same M1 chip, but is a full-on computer without the software limitations of iPadOS. And before you comment, yes, I'm starting to reevaluate my financial decisions. No, I'm just kidding. I actually love this whole setup here, and really, I don't see the iPad, for me at least, as a laptop replacement, but more just a supplement to the rest of my workflow. It serves a completely different purpose from that of my MacBook. Overall, the white Magic Keyboard case for the iPad Pro is super clean and sleek, giving you an awesome floating design with a nearly full laptop experience with its keyboard and trackpad. It stayed fairly clean, but you do need to put in some effort to keep it like that. I definitely can't recommend it to everyone because of its high price tag, along with the iPad itself, but I can say that I have absolutely loved it. As always, to those of you who have made it to the end of this video, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed and you want to see more tech content from me in the very near future, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and take care.